Have you heard about the Cuyahoga River? Probably not even saying that right. Sorry, I learn everything I know from reading, and my dyslexic brain doesn't always put syllables together properly. So sound off in the comments. Let me know how bad I mutilated the name of this river. Anyway, it's Cuyahogha, the Cuyahoga River. Well, anyways. Okay, so this river, it totally like caught fire. No, like for real. In 1868, 1887, 1912, 1922, 1936, 1941, 1948, and 1952. But that wasn't even the most recent fire. You know, it was said to dip one toe in it would be a trip to the hospital. Where? What? Why? How? I mean, it was oil slicks because of course it was. Okay, so this river, it kind of snakes about 100 miles across Ohio, emptying into Lake Erie. So, like, way back in the day, companies like Sherwin-Williams, Republic Steel, and Standard Oil popped off in Cleveland and offered just a whole bunch of jobs. Yay, economy, let's go! But by the 1870s, the river served as a dumping ground to all of these industries, right? It got so bad, y'all, that the waste actually threatened the city's water supply. I mean, people were like, ew, this water tastes nasty. So in 1922, some tests showed that the drinking water was in fact polluted. And then 47 years later, in 1969, there was, yes, another fire. So it was extinguished quickly. It only lasted for about 30 minutes, and it had very little media fanfare. I mean, after all, the river fires were a sign of a great economy. Anyway, it did about 50K in damages. That would be in 1969 money. And it got so little attention that I don't even think there's like photographs of this fire, right? So why the am I talking about it today? Okay. Let me tell you. Okay, so this is the year that Nixon first took office. And, you know, the civil rights movement was really on the rise. People were protesting over our involvement in the Vietnam War that lasted from 1955 to 1975. And recognizing the impacts of climate change and pollutants was another issue that was on the rise. So, you know, people weren't happy. They weren't happy. There were protests everywhere, and I mean, for good reason. For good reason. Like, I mean, protests often are. So, if you're not new here, you know how I feel about the Nixon administration. But sometimes even admin run by horrific people can sometimes get it right. And the reason they do so is because they actually listen to their constituents and do their jobs. And one thing that Nixon did that we demanded of him and his administration was he founded the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Now, he did this in order to consolidate efforts with environmental protection that at that time regulations were just kind of scattered here and there, right? And so he consolidated it all into one. And it was events like this fire, this 30-minute fire that was not an uncommon thing. It kind of highlighted the need for the EPA. And the EPA actually had very strong public support. It's kind of one of the biggest reasons that it even exists. But it also had bipartisan support, which is another reason that speaking out and talking, using our voices, telling our representatives what we want is so important, because sometimes they do listen. They recognize that if we don't give the people what they want, we're not going to get their votes and we lose our freaking jobs. So yeah, use your voice. You guys, use your voice. It works. We have the EPA for now. So on December 2nd of 1970, William D. Ruckelshaus, I don't know how to pronounce his name either. It's let me read it for you. Ruckelshus. is how you pronounce his name. Anyway, he was appointed as the EPA's first admin, and he served from December 4th, 1970 until April 30th, 1973. So his job was to take actions against cities and industrial polluters and enforce regulations, right? So he set standards for health-based regulations, including things like auto emissions, and the restriction of the use of pesticides like DDT. Um, he also returned in 1983 and served till 85. I believe that was the Reagan administration. Anyway, the EPA was linked to passing the Clean Air Act and the National Environmental Policy Acts in 1973. And one of the things, okay, so the EPA was founded in December, but in April of 1970, we had the first Earth Day, right? And this was a huge event to bring awareness to climate change and to the pollutants that affect us as humans and affect our planet and our longevity as life on this planet. You know, back in the day, I think it was like in 2016, I saw this Facebook post. Yes, I'm on Facebook. Calm down. Actually, go follow me there. So I saw this Facebook post, and it said something along the lines of, I don't remember verbatim, but it said something like, "Oh, look, in the 1960s, they said that this was all this data, and this is where we would be today, and we're not there. How much do they know?" You know, it was like a science denying post. And to my response is, yeah, regulations work. For you, please feel free to hit that subscribe or follow. I am so happy to have you here, and remember, you are always, always, always valid. You are worthy, and you are loved. Okay, bye.